If you've been feeling like something inside of you is shifting, like life doesn't fit the way it used to, then this one's for you. Today, I want to talk about 5 signs that show up in your life when the path of the feminine is calling you home. And just to warn you, these signs don't show up all graceful like those glowing, beautiful Insta goddesses meditating by the sea. They usually arrive messy, confusing, and emotional because that's how truth enters into your body. So, lately, if you've been feeling like a little lost, emotional, or it feels like that you are breaking down, it feels so destructive that you literally feel like something in you is breaking down. But maybe you're not breaking down at all. Maybe you're breaking open. Sign number 1 is you feel alone, even when you're not. You could be surrounded by people. Maybe you are in a relationship and maybe your life looks full from the outside, but inside there's always this quiet ache, a feeling like something is missing and no one really gets you anymore. So when this happens, at first it usually feels heavy, you know? It feels like loneliness attacking you from all directions. But what is actually happening here is that your soul is calling you inward because the path of the feminine often begins with solitude, not as punishment, but as initiation. You're being asked to meet yourself, maybe for the first time, without any noise, without the distractions, without any roles to play. And that loneliness that you feel isn't a void, it's a sacred space. It's like the initiation of creation of the sacred space within you, a space where actually your true self can finally breathe. So when I was going through this phase in my life, initially I didn't realize I was going through something like this. When I finally understood that something is wrong, I'm feeling, every time I'm around people, I still feel kind of lonely. And after this realization, I literally, the first reaction was to resist it. I would try to fill up my days by calling friends or distracting myself by watching content on TV or on internet. But eventually I decided to accept it as it is. And then I realized this void that I used to feel within me, this was not loneliness. It was much deeper. Life was asking me to embrace the aloneness because it wanted to slowly remove everything from my reality that was not meant to come with me in my next journey. So if you feel alone right now, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit in it because that's where you will start hearing your own voice again. Okay, sign number 2 is the old ways are not working anymore. So probably you've always been the one who always kind of figures things out, who pushes through, who plans, who organizes, who manages life. But now suddenly all those same strategies have stopped working for you. The job that once excited you, it feels now draining. The friendships that you've leaned on for years now feel surface level. And if you're a woman on a spiritual journey, then probably your healing practices also now kind of feel that something is off. Like they don't reach you anymore. And when this happens, most women panic. We think that we have lost our motivation and something is wrong with us. But what is happening here is the feminine that's rising in you, your true power, is dismantling the old you. I remember this exact phase in my journey when my inner feminine wisdom started exposing everything that was performative, especially my healing journey. It clearly showed me how I was even performing my healing as well. It was absolutely confronting for me. I realized that some of my spiritual practices had become a way to control myself rather than free myself. So this is what happened with me, and this is what happens in general. When feminine rises, she doesn't let you hide behind anything, especially performance. She will strip away everything that's not real, friendships, routines, all parts of your identity, until only truth remains. So if you feel like everything is falling apart, actually what is happening is everything is gonna fall into place once this phase is over. All right, sign number 3 is your safety structures are collapsing. So when feminine energy rises, as we are seeing, she shakes the foundation, especially the ones that you feel were keeping you safe. So suddenly the things that gave you stability, like your career path, your relationship dynamic, your plans, they all start to feel like cages. And it's confusing because structure is very important in our life. But the feminine doesn't like rigid structures. She wants rhythm. So she will first make you structureless. She will make you question everything. You will feel a bit lost for a while, but only because you're learning to live from the flow instead of force. And for me, when it happened to me, it felt like a free fall. All my systems, my XYZ years plan, my morning routines, they stopped making sense. But over time, I realized that this power in me was teaching me something precious. How to create safety within myself, not from what's outside of me. How to declutter life and create routines that feel true to my soul. So, right now, if your life feels like a tower is crumbling, good. That means your soul is building something more organic, more feminine, more you. Sign number 4 is your body starts speaking louder than ever. The body, our greatest teacher and our most misunderstood messenger. So when feminine begins to rise in you, the body will become its voice. And if you don't listen, she gets loud. You might feel tired for no reason. You might get strange aches and pains in the body, tightness, womb cramps, digestion shifts, skin breakouts, and you might not even recognize yourself in the mirror for days. And of course, when this happens, the mind wants to fix it. Google the symptoms, panic that something is wrong with you, and book a doctor immediately, which is important. All of these points are, if you're doing it, there's nothing wrong in it. But it is very important to understand that before we try to fix the body, we should listen to the body. For years and years, most of us have lived in a disembodied state, in our heads, overriding body signals and numbing our emotions. And now this feminine is rising, and she is now trying to recalibrate it. She is detoxing. She's literally detoxing from you the old identities, the grief, the suppression. All right. In my case, this phase was really intense. There was this strange uneasiness that I used to feel on the right side, this lower abdomen right side, just below my rib cage. It used to feel like pulsating energy. Sometimes this thing would be soft, like soft pulsation, and sometimes it would be very strong. So strong that I couldn't ignore it. And every time I would sit in my embodiment practice, this would get louder, and as if something was, from inside of my body was trying to speak to me. But at one point, I genuinely thought that something was wrong with my health. So I did what most of us would do in a situation like this. I booked myself a medical checkup, but I gave myself a few days before, I had that session booked, and I decided, because I was curious, I decided I'm going to speak to this part every day. So I studied what organs lived in this side of the body, which was mainly liver and gallbladder were the main ones. And in my practice, in my embodiment practice, I started speaking to them every day. I would place my hand there and I would whisper, what do you want to tell me today? Like, why? What is this energy? Why are you making me feel uneasy? So the first few days, I remember nothing much happened. I just allowed myself to move through this pulsating energy. But then one day, the amount of emotions that started moving through me, it's very difficult for me to explain what those emotions actually felt like. Okay, let me try to explain it. Every day, I would find myself on the floor, crying, shaking, releasing anger, frustration, and irritability. And I didn't even know I was holding so much. It was like days and days of this kind of release. It was very emotional, but it was at the same time very freeing. I every day when I would sit in my practice and I would finish crying and shaking and releasing the anger, I would feel so much lighter. And then I read that these are the emotions that actually our liver holds inside. Whenever we feel angry and we do not express it, that's where it gets stored. And finally, I went for my checkup. All the scans were done, the MRI was done, and everything came out perfectly normal. So, physically, medically, there was nothing wrong with me. But what was happening during those days was this energetic purification. So, my body wasn't punishing me, it was purifying me. She was helping me release years of suppressed emotions that I'd stored within me while I was ignoring her voice. And after some time, after a few days, that energy stopped, that pulsation, that pulsing energy stopped. And I felt better again. I felt lighter on my right side. So if your body has been trying to get your attention through fatigue, aches, or sensations that absolutely make no sense, get the help that's necessary. But before rushing, also pause and listen to her. You can place your hand on the part of the body that you think is trying to speak to you and ask, What do you need me to know right now? Because when you listen to her, she will lead you home. Now, sign number 5 is you're becoming more sensitive than ever. This one can be both a blessing and a curse at first. You start feeling everything around you, people's emotions, the energy in a room, the pain of the collective. It's like your heart has no skin. You might cry more. And because of this, you might crave alone time. You might not be able to tolerate certain kind of environment or even a specific type of music anymore. But this sensitivity is not your weakness. This is your feminine power awakening. You are remembering how to feel deeply again, something that the modern world tries to shame out of women. And yes, it can be overwhelming because with sensitivity comes the old emotions surfacing, your old traumas, the grief, the shame, the guilt that you once buried. Everything starts to come on the surface. But this is not regression, that's release again. Your feminine is saying, it's time to stop running from what hurts. Feel it, breathe through it, and I will hold you. And when you start allowing that, not fixing, not escaping, just feeling, your emotions stop being scary. They become sacred. So if you're feeling extra emotional or too sensitive lately, maybe that's your feminine heart thawing after years of being frozen. So let it thaw, my love. It's where your power lies. So if any of these signs are showing up in your life, please know you're not crazy. You're not broken. And you're definitely not going backwards. You're just remembering the part of you that's always been whole. The part that feels, flows, and moves through life with grace, not control. And yes, it can be messy. I'm not gonna lie, because feminine is messy sometimes. It heals through messiness, like undoing everything that you once knew. But underneath all these chaos, a deeper wisdom is born. Your feminine essence, your true feminine essence. So instead of asking yourself, why is it happening to me? Try asking, what is the feminine in me trying to teach me right now? Because once you start listening, truly listening, that's when life becomes like a sacred dance once again. So thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, I would like you to give it a thumbs up or leave a comment if you have a question to ask or a thought to share. And if you're a woman on a healing journey who's looking for some support as you heal through your emotional wounds, I will add my services in the description box. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey together. And I will see you next time.